Hello friends, and welcome to Adam's Farmhouse Kitchen. Today on our show we're going to be making two different types of cranberry sauce. My version and Granny's version, so stay tuned. For over 145 years, the heart of my family's farmhouse has been the kitchen. It's where stories, food, and traditions have been passed down through generations. Join me as we create new memories, one dish at a time. Welcome to Adam's Farmhouse Kitchen. All right, so we're going to get off starting with our cranberry sauce. And this is one of my versions. You can't really screw up cranberry sauce, I don't think so. But with this version, you're going to start off with one really large bag of frozen or fresh cranberries. Today we have fresh cranberries because they are in season. And we have the bags I got were smaller bags. So I've got two small bags here. And then we are going to be chopping up some fresh celery, and we're going to zest an orange, and we're going to get the juice out of this orange as well. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll be adding this to our cooking pot here shortly, but I'm going to go ahead and just zest my orange right over top of my bowl full of beautiful cranberries. Look how beautiful those are. There's nothing like fresh cranberries, cranberry season. So we're going to go ahead and zest our orange, and we want to make sure and get as much zest off of there as we can, because this really makes your cranberry salad delicious. All right, we've got our zest in there from one orange. Now we're going to juice our orange. We want to use fresh orange juice for this. We have this vintage zester here, or I'm sorry, vintage juicer here. And so we're going to get all of the juice out of our orange. And this smells so good already. We haven't even added the sugar or the celery to it. All right, so we have our fresh orange juice. We're going to add that right in the bowl. And then we're going to add in roughly, it's going to be around 2 cups of chopped celery. And so I'm going to go ahead and chop this celery up. And this is really fresh. So I'm going to split it right down the middle first, so we have sort of a smaller dice when we cut it up. Celery used to be a real luxury. Years ago, my grandma used to tell me, she'd say, Adam, she said, years ago, you'd think it was sound crazy now, but, you know, it was an expensive item and it was a real luxury, so especially for us country folks. So I remember her telling me that. So we're going to go ahead and dice this up now. You want to make sure, just a little tip, that you never scrape your cutting board with the sharp side down, because it will dull your knife. You always want to scrape with the back of your knife. So that's just a little pointer there. And we're going to go ahead and just chop this up just a little bit more. All right, so now we're going to add that to our bowl of cranberries and our orange zest. And we're going to get this ready to cook here in just a few minutes. So let's go ahead and get all of that celery in there. Boy, it sure does smell good. It's beginning to smell like holidays, I can tell you. All right, so we'll be back here in just a minute, and we're going to go ahead and cook this cranberry sauce. All right, well, we're back now, and now we're going to cook my cranberry sauce here. So we've got our cranberries, our chopped celery, and we've also got our fresh orange juice and our orange zest already in the pot. And we're going to add to that 2 cups of chopped walnuts. You can use other nuts if you prefer, but I always use walnuts. Granny used those, and I guess I'm accustomed to walnuts. So we're also going to add 1 cup of light brown sugar and 1 cup of granulated sugar to this mixture. So let's go ahead and add that in. We'll kind of break that brown sugar up a little bit with our hands, like so. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and turn our burner on here, and we're going to cook this, and we are going to we are going to cook it until the cranberries pop. And then we're going to turn it off and let it cool. And then we'll be back a little bit later to do our presentation and put it in a beautiful bowl. So let's go ahead and get these cranberries started off. And then we'll be back here. You'll be able to see how they are going to pop. And it really is heavenly cranberry sauce with all of this citrus and celery to smell this. So I'm going to just stir this up really good now. And then once these get started, then we will be back to take a look. And I'm actually, sometimes you have to add a little bit of water. Now, it just depends, but I'm going to put maybe a quarter cup of water in these cranberries to start off. And then I'm going to stir these up here. You don't want to get too much because cranberries have a lot of water in them. So we'll get these stirred up. And I can see there it did need just a little bit of water. So now that we've got everything stirred up, we're going to let these cook here. And then we'll be back here shortly and we'll be able to see how they're coming along. All right, now you can see these cranberries are starting to cook now, and I'm going to give them just a quick stir. And we don't want to cook them too long. We just want to cook them long enough until the cranberries sort of pop, and you can hear them going pop, pop. They're like little explosions in the pot here, but we don't want to cook them too long. So we're going to let that cook another, probably, I would say 3 or 4 minutes. And then our cranberry salad sauce is going to be all finished, and then we'll let it cool. Now you can see these are really starting to cook down a little bit now, and cranberries are actually they have a natural thickener in them, thickening agent, and so the sugar of course helps a little bit as well. But these are just about finished. You can see they're almost all of them have popped open, and the skins have pulled back a little. And so we are going to go ahead now, and we're going to turn this off, and we're going to let this cool and to probably almost room temperature. And then we're going to plate it up in a beautiful crystal bowl, and then we will pop it in the fridge until it's time to present to our guests. All right, well, now it's time to present my cranberry sauce in a beautiful glass bowl. And what we're going to do to make it really beautiful for your holiday table is we're going to take some kale. This is just kale. It's very inexpensive. And we're going to put some of that around the bowl like this. You can break off the ends if you need to. A nice pretty green garnishment for your cranberry sauce. So we're going to put that around there like that. I think we'll get a couple more there, just like that. And kale is very inexpensive, so it makes a perfect garnish for just about anything. So there's our kale. We have it in there. Let's do one more. So each little crevice has a piece in there like that. This was my grandma's bowl, Granny's bowl. She had lots of glass and crystal bowls. So all right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this cranberry sauce, which is cooled. You can see it's sort of set up a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it a little stir. And we're going to pour that right into the center of the bowl. Just like that. Just like that. And see, doesn't that look really pretty? And then what we're going to do to add a little bit of garnishment to that and a little bit more color, I have a blood orange here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half. I don't know if you've ever had a blood orange before, but they're very beautiful. And they look really pretty when you want to garnish something and give it some extra pizzazz. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little bit of an orange twist. Actually, I think what I'll do is I sort of just make it up as I go along. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to add the oranges, we're going to add one around the edges like this. A little bit in there. And then we'll cut us another little slice. Just like that. And then what we can do is we'll take another slice from this one. We're going to try to cut this one a little bit thinner if we can. We may have to do it this way. Whatever we have to do in order to get it sliced. And then we'll do a little cut like that. And then we'll just give it a little bit of a twist around. We'll put that right on the top of our cranberry sauce. So the blood oranges really make a nice little garnishment. And there you have it, Adam's cranberry sauce. All right, now we're going to get started with Granny's cranberry sauce. And it's very, very simple. So we have one small bag of fresh cranberries. You can use frozen if you like. So we're going to go ahead and add those to pots here. And we have 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. We're going to add those to the cranberries as well. Now, you can add more sugar if you want or less. It really just depends on your taste. And I'm going to get a little bit of water here. Now, we don't want to put too much water on there. I'm going to say this is probably about 1/2 cup. We're going to add that to the cranberries, 1/4 cup. And then we're going to go ahead and get those started here on our burner. And once they come to a boil and the cranberries are going to pop, and then we're going to set these aside to cool. And then I have a really special little emerald green glass dish we're going to present these in, and I'll tell you about that later on. And so this is really a simple recipe, and I know my grandma, I can remember her making this cranberry sauce so simple. She just would cook her cranberries with a little bit of water and sugar, and then she would let them cool. She always would put them in her little dish she was going to present them in for Christmas dinner. And she would always let them cool outside on the banister. So usually it was cool enough in that time of year, either Thanksgiving or Christmas, when she would make cranberry sauce. And so it's really a simple recipe. And I think it's good to have 2 or 3 versions of cranberry sauce. And so we're going to let those cook now. It won't take too long, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and these will come to a boil and start to pop open, and then we'll come back and take a look here in just a second. All right, so our cranberries are finished. You can see they've come to a boil. They popped open, and what we're going to do now is we're going to turn off the fire, and we're going to let these cool to a room temperature, and then we're going to present them up in a beautiful bowl. So we have Granny's cranberry sauce here. Very simple to make. All right, folks, well, we're back now, and Granny's cranberry sauce is cooled, and we're going to put it in a beautiful emerald green presentation dish. Now, my good friend Tina gave me this. Unfortunately, Granny's dish was lost along the way, but this is identical to the one that she had, and she always put her cranberry sauce in this little green dish and would serve it during holidays. So thank you, Tina, for this beautiful glass dish. And so we're going to present it just like Granny used to. So we've got our cooled cranberries, and they've already started to thicken up a little bit. You can see there. And what we're going to do is we're going to simply put these into the dish. And this is a really small dish, so this is just the perfect amount. And we will put that just like that. And then what you can do is go ahead and put these in the refrigerator, cover them with some cling film, and you can let them set overnight. You can make them a day or 2 ahead of time if you want, and they will set up a little bit more. So there you have it, Granny's cranberry sauce.